So Kawhi Leonard is making it pretty obvious that he wants out of San Antonio, and it seems like the Spurs may be just done with it all and are willing to move on from the guy. And it seems that the prime team for it is the Los Angeles Lakers, who have a lot of questions to answer right now in terms of if they get Kawhi, does that guarantee that they get LeBron? Does that mean that they should go all out in terms of trading for Kawhi? Do they include Lonzo? Do the Spurs want Lonzo? There's a million different things here, but we are just going to talk about the Spurs for a little bit, and then we're going to go into the Lakers. So, first off, the whole thing about where they're only going to trade him to a team in the East, I think that's not going to happen. I think that's just them saying that, or whoever saying that for whatever reason. They'll go with the best offer. Even if that means Popovich has to send him to the Lakers or whatever. If they really feel like that situation is dead between them and Kawhi, then they'll move him for the best offer, okay? And if that's the Lakers, then that's what it is. However, I don't think we should rule out the possibility that Kawhi actually is still on San Antonio in some way where that relationship is actually repaired. Now, am I going to bet on that at this point? No, but let's leave like a 4% chance of that still happening, I guess. But anyway, if he ends up going to the Lakers, then I think some questions need to be answered. The first thing is, what happens with Lonzo? If I'm the Spurs, I would want Lonzo. I know you got the dad situation, but I just like Lonzo as a player a lot. But I could picture the Spurs not wanting him because of DeJounte Murray. I think Lonzo will be better than DeJounte long term, just because I think he's so good of a playmaker. But I like DeJounte nonetheless. You could argue that Murray will end up being a better defender than Lonzo will, while Lonzo will still be pretty good. And you hope that DeJounte could just grow in terms of all the other things, like playmaking, running an offense, and all that good stuff. But if I had to bet, some gut feeling tells me Lonzo would not be in this trade. I think for the Spurs, you could make that move, and if you didn't want to deal with his dad, then you could just trade him to then somewhere else to get yourselves some other package. Whether that will actually happen, I don't know. But I do think San Antonio has to get themselves Brandon Ingram in this move, and I think the Lakers would be okay with that. I like Ingram a lot. I've said it numerous times on this channel. His handle is intriguing. His jump shot, while it's not a thing that he goes to too much, it's still improved in his second season. And hopefully his body can just fill out a little bit more. He can gain himself some weight and allow himself to not just get bodied, and maybe he could one day actually back down Harrison Barnes in the low post, as 2K likes to make me think he can. Combine that with his playmaking, which is decent, his rebounding, which is pretty okay, and I think Ingram's just good, and I think you have to get him if you're the Spurs. And I would say that his ceiling is maybe second best player on a really, really good team, like a 55-plus win team or so. I don't know if he can ever be the best player on a title contender, but you'll still be content with that, assuming that the Spurs would give you other things, or the Lakers would give the Spurs other things. The question would be, if Ingram was in San Antonio, how long would Popovich stick around? I don't know if Pop wants to be a part of a rebuild type of thing, but if he was, even if it's only for a season or two, that could help Ingram out a lot, because sometimes he has problems with making his move before he really thinks about the situation, so he might dribble himself into trouble, or he might just try to do too much, whereas Pop would be pretty good at disciplining him and slowing him down a little bit, and that would be a decent crop of young guys between Ingram and DeJounte Murray and whoever else may go in the trade, and that's where we can continue this video now. Let's talk about Kuzma. If I'm the Lakers, he's the one guy I would want to keep because he can shoot, right? He's a better shooter than Ingram, better shooter than Lonzo, can play off of Kawhi, and if that also means LeBron is coming, then he can just chill in the corner, move off the ball, attack switches, post up on smaller guys, but not hijack the offense. good fit. However, if I'm the Spurs, I want Kyle Kuzma for everything I just said. I think if push comes to shove, if you're San Antonio, or if you're the Lakers, and you come to the conclusion that you need to put Kuzma in the deal, which gets you Kawhi and then gets you LeBron, I think you do it. I think a similar thing is said with Julius Randle, and I actually think there could be a chance that if you included Randle in a sign and trade situation, that maybe you could actually put him in the move rather than Kyle Kuzma, let's say. Because again, I think Ingram is a guarantee. I think he's moving in this deal. And then maybe it's the Spurs are willing to take on one of Randle and Kuzma and then draft picks rather than both of them, you know? And then once again, if you can get yourself two of the 5 best players in the league, if you're the Lakers, and in that sort of an exchange, then I think you're okay with it. Now, we should mention, Lakers have all their first-round picks moving forward. As far as how good those picks will actually be, I don't know, because it seems there's a decent chance that LeBron will be there, and if you got LeBron and Kawhi, then you're going to be really good, but they're picks nonetheless. As far as how Paul George could actually get there, I don't know, just because it's this weird thing where I don't know if Luol Deng has to be in the move for Kawhi, or if he's not in the move and then you buy him out, or whatever. I'm sure there is an avenue to get there. And, I mean, if those 3 guys are on the team, at that point, I don't totally care who I'm moving, because then I've got the best player in the league, the, I don't know, 4th best, 5th best or something, and then I've got, like, the 12th best. I don't really give a crap if Kyle Kuzma's still around or not, but you can't just assume that all of it is going to go well for you. So if you can hold on to someone like a Kuzma, I would like to do that. But of course, if you have a wink wink under the table handshake from Paul George, then of course you do it. So yeah, I mean, there's a chance this team could be completely loaded next season. And what's interesting is I think Josh Hart is maybe the one guy who's going to escape all of this, still being on the Lakers. And you could argue that while he may be the 4th best or 5th best of all the Lakers prospects between Lonzo, Ingram, Kuzma, Randle, and Hart, he may be one of the better ones in terms of playing off of 3 superstars, because he's 6'5", he cares about defense, and he's a good 3-point shooter, right? But of course, the Spurs know what they're doing, so I'm sure they see Josh Hart, and there's a chance that they're going to want him. So I don't know what the actual pieces moved are going to be, but once again, if Kawhi leads to LeBron, then that maybe leads to Paul George, or at least another very good player who might not be on a max contract, then don't allow some young dudes who have some potential to ruin that for you. So it's looking like a good offseason for the Lake Show. And actually, one more thing before I finish.